Hey, hello. Ooh, Sunday, y'all, Sunday. Man, this week have went fast. I tell you, this week have went fast, and we are on step today. We are on step 12, and step 12, having had a spiritual awakening. As the result of these steps, we tried to carry the message to addicts and to practice these principles in all our fare. Good evening to everyone. I've had a blessed day, so full, so grateful. I have a lot of gratitude. We woke up this morning and somebody else didn't. Somebody else died last night of an overdose. He has helped me build a foundation, help us build a foundation, help we build a foundation, to help us understand these steps and understand this disease of an addiction. Understand that we can't use no matter what. Understanding that we have to do service work. This step 12 is all about service, all about sending the message, giving the message, helping do service work, But before we get into the steps, I want to say good evening. I hope each and every last one of y'all had a good week. The ending of the week is Sunday, and I'm going to do my best to try to help you understand how this steps helps in all areas of our lives. Hey, Auntie Wanda, all areas of our lives. Can we take a moment of silence for the addicts who still suffer in and outside of these walls, in any kind of addiction, drug addiction, heroin addiction, alcohol addiction, cutting addiction, eating addiction, gambling addiction, all kind of addictions. But I want to thank you, God, of my understanding for allowing me, to allowing we, to allowing us to find a new way to live without the drugs, without the alcohol, without anything that's causing harm to our bodies and our minds. My God, I thank you. All right, y'all. Service was good. My pastor got down. That's on the spirit. That's on the on a godly road. But this step deals with service. And before I get through going through, let me give a shout out to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. And let me give a shout out to all the treatment facilities all over the world, all across the nation. Let me give a shout out to all the counselors, all the therapists, all the mothers who have to deal with their children's on drugs with this disease that I hate. Give a shout out to all the parents who had to find their way through from losing a son or a daughter or a mother or a father through this addiction, auntie, cousins, nephews. And I thank God, for Him helping us find a way to deal with this disease called addiction. And this disease is terrible, y'all. It kills our peoples, it kills our loved ones, it destroys our hope, it takes away all beautiful things that we have within ourselves. It have caused loved ones to die, have caused mothers to die up under the influence of drugs and alcohol. It had caused, and all of it's bad. Alcohol is bad, the drugs is bad, the pills is bad, even the behaviors that comes with the addiction is bad. You know, the things that we do to hurt ourselves is bad only because of this disease called addiction. And see, this disease here, I hate this disease, and I tell y'all all the time, hey, Joseph, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Olivia, how you doing? I hope I said it right, baby. Miss Johnson. This disease is terrible. You know, I see it every day. I deal with it. I deal with the phone calls. I deal with getting up in my car, going to help another individual. See, but all this is service work. Step 12, having had a spiritual awakening. Now, if you haven't had a spiritual awakening, hey, Michelle, through all these steps, or you don't even know what it is to have a spiritual awakening due to all these steps. Some of y'all ain't even worked the steps. Some of y'all this is new for. Some of y'all don't even understand. Some of y'all want to understand. Some of y'all need to understand. Some of y'all know y'all struggling with all kind of addictions. And that's why I say, you know, the 12 step is dealing with any kind of addiction. Addiction is something that you do that you can't stop. Addiction is something that you want to stop doing, but you can't stop. Addiction is something that you know you need to stop doing, but you don't stop. Addiction will get you in trouble. Addiction will land you in jail. Addiction will land you in the ground, dead as a doorknob. Because we having a disease called addiction. Cutting addiction, stealing addiction, lying addiction, drug addiction. You know, hurting people's addiction, causing harm to somebody else to please yourself, addiction. So when I talk about addiction, that means any kind of addiction that you're going through. Don't nobody know what kind of addiction you're going through. Some of y'all might be going through addiction because you can't leave somebody else's husband alone. That was once my addiction. But it says, haven't had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. You heard what it said, as a result. That means I went through the steps. I took my time when I went in treatment and I went through the steps. And I had to learn the steps. I had to see what part of me belonged to that step. And guess what? Every part of me belonged to every step I entered into working on. You know, this steps tell us that we got to do some service. We got to help other individual take out the message, give the message. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing service work. I'm telling y'all, I'm telling you the message that if you continue to keep drinking and keep using, okay, you can go on and have your fun. You can go on and do what you need to do. But sooner or later, you know, it ain't going to be fun no more. Sooner or later, when you have health problems like liver disease and pancreas disease, brain disease, due to addiction. And that's why I get on here. I ask God to always guide my tongue that I might be helpful to someone else. Because this world, people are going through. You know, people are going through. And some people don't know how to deal with it. So they pick up, they use, they drink, they don't care. But we must learn to care about ourselves because the drugs is killing us. The addictions is hurting us. The addiction is killing us too, all at the same time. Haven't had a spiritual awakening. I mean, I did. I was at the lowest point of my life. I was making so many bad U-turns, I couldn't see my way. Because I didn't want to let go of all the addictions that I had. Especially the drugs. I had so many addictions, but I had to work a step. I had to get me a sponsor, and I still have that sponsor today. I had to do some service work. I had to get a spiritual connection due to these results of these steps. It got me closer back to the Lord, and I thank him for that. It got me closer back to God. I mean closer. You know, God has been my rock. Through all of this, he's been my rock. He never give up on us. No matter how many times we give up on ourselves, he still don't never give up on us. I said on Friday night, I paid the price to be here. Yeah. Haven't had to go through all them steps, but now we on step 12, and that's the end of the steps. That's the end of the steps. You go from 1 to 12. You got your principles from 1 to 12. You got your traditions 1 to 12. But right now, the world is kind of upside down. But see, I never take my eyes off of God. I don't let what I hear on the TV, I don't let what I see on the TV disturb my peace, because God is in the blessing business of taking care of his children. Peoples is going to find some way to help peoples eat. Haven't had. Man, I didn't even know what a spiritual awakening was until I got introduced to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. I never heard about it, never knew about it. All I knew is I used to live and live to use. Every day I drank, every day I got high, every day I popped pills. And through his grace, sometimes I just have to shout and cry. I never thought I would be here. I never thought my thinking, my way of thinking, going through them steps, man, I messed up. The 12 steps is helping me realize that how messed up I was. I messed up. I was. Take that back. I was. I'm at a point in my life, I take nothing for granted. Friendship, loving one another, being kind to one another, all the things that we became addicted to and miserable to and hurting people, I don't do that no more. When you go through these 12 steps, haven't had a spiritual awakening. Man, having a spiritual awakening, what do that mean? Haven't had a spiritual awakening. We try to carry this message out. You know, that's why we go to meetings and brothers and sisters, they get up and talk to one another and they tell us their story. They tell us how they came into the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. They tell us what they went through before they got through. And see, if ain't nobody ever been an addict or been addicted to something, how can you help another individual? How can you? Hey, Elvin, how can you? How can you help another individual if you never been a dope fiend, if you never been an alcoholic, if you never been a cutter, if you never been a gambler, if you never been a liar? How can you help another individual? How can you help if you never been an example of what you trying to get the message to come out to be? The message was, I need to help the newcomers. I need to help myself in the process. No matter who I'm trying to help, I'm still helping me at the same time. You know, when we come through life not born with no addictions. Check this out. We come and we born and God created us, and we come to a part in our life that, we get around certain peoples, we get older, and then we start picking up habits. See, I had these addictions way before I even got introduced to drugs. I had an addiction. I had so many addictions. But I love these steps, because had I not went through 1 through 11, cut it off. Had I not went through 1 through 11, I couldn't be here. The rice. I couldn't be here. Ain't no lie. I couldn't be here. He had to take me through a process. I had to meet certain peoples. I had to go in treatment. I had to sit there in a treatment bed. I had to tell somebody why my life had become unmanageable. I had to cry. I was so confused. I was so angry with me. Because when you look back over your life, and that's for you, that's forever, and that's for anybody that's on here, when you go back and look at your life, and you see all the mistakes that you made, you think it ain't no way out, but it is. Don't let that fool you. That's where the 12-step came in. 12-step come in to change your life. It come in here to give you a new step to a new beginning on a new journey, so you can prosper and get yourself together and understand why I can't stop doing the things that I do. Because anything that becomes a habit that makes you feel good makes you think that you can't stop. And we as addicts, we get addicted to feeling good. Anything that makes us feel good, we gain. Anything that when we use, and anything that made me high, anything that made me feel good, I was gain. I hate this disease. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. What steps? 1 through 11. Can't play with these steps, because the step gonna pull a lot of stuff out of you. It's coming. It's gonna pull a whole lot of stuff out of you. It's gonna make you revisit a whole lot of things that you have done. It's gonna make you say, God, thank you. Thank you for changing me. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for carrying me. Thank you for the 12-step program. Thank you for never leaving me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I thank him every day. Every day that I don't pick up a drink. Every day that I don't use drugs. Every day that I don't steal. Every day that I don't lie. Any day that I'm not pursuing and premeditating who I'm going to sleep with or who I'm going to hurt is a gift. I ain't got to do that in the result of these steps. These steps told me you got to be honest, open mind, and willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to have the knowledge that you got a problem. It was a long time before I realized I had a problem. Long time. We tried to carry this message to other addicts. You know, like when people text me or people call me, that person is an addict. I'm a recovering addict because I no longer use, but I'm still an addicted person. Just because I don't use don't mean that I can't pick up at any given time of the day or night. So that's where that word come on. We are addicted to drugs and alcohol. We are addicted to things that make us feel good. But we have to carry the message to the other addicts. Like, if it wasn't for us, old timers, if it wasn't for us old schoolers that's been in recovery for multiples of years, how could we help another newcomer or another addict if we don't give the message, if we don't do the service work, if we ain't trying to tell nobody that this program does work. I'm a living proof. I'm a living proof that if you stop using drugs, your life will become meaningful to you. If you stop using drugs, if you stop cutting, if you stop lying, if you stop stealing, is it a result having had a spiritual awakening? I mean, one day I was sobbing because I was in treatment and I was thinking about my kids. I was thinking about all the stuff that I had to kind of talk about in order to somebody to help me. I had to talk to counselors after counselors, and I wanted to drop all this stuff I was carrying. I wanted somebody to know that I'm suffering in the disease of an addiction. But the greatest gift for me was when I went into treatment, I didn't even know nothing about a first step. I didn't even know nothing about a first step. And then I didn't know nothing about a second step. All these steps, I had to take my time and apply myself so I can become better in all areas of our lives. Not just me, you too. Anybody who get on here, anybody know you got an addiction, anybody know that you struggling, anybody you know that you don't like what you doing, anybody that's keep sneaking and dibbing and dabbing, pretty soon you ain't going to be able to sneak, dibbing and dabbing because you're going to be out of here. You're going to be gone. Can't play with drugs and alcohol. Drugs is a disease that come to kill us, destroy us, where we can be in the ground. I wasn't dying to this disease because I hate this disease. And every day that I say that just make me more stronger to know I'm never using again. I don't care what happened. And so much has happened, in our life. We get clean. And I don't know why people think when we get clean that everything is just going to be like sunshine. But honey, get ready, get ready, get ready. Because when you get clean, get ready. Things is finna start happening. Because, Satan is in the blocking mood. He don't like that you clean. He don't like that you stop stealing. He don't like that you stop cutting yourself. He don't like that you stop drinking and stop drugging and stop shooting up. He don't like it that you all of a sudden is putting yourself first, nurturing yourself. He don't like that. Hey, Gertrude. He don't like that. So look right here. It says, and to practice these principles in all our affairs. That means I done went through 1 to 12 steps. I'm on 12 steps today. And I had to practice all these principles that's in these steps. I had to understand the principles of the steps. I had to do some footwork. I had to get an understanding that, if I can get up and I don't drink today, like I was addicted to coffee. I didn't realize that was addiction until I started shaking and couldn't go without it and jumping in the car, running to the store before it closed to get me some coffee for the next morning. You don't know what you're addicted to until you're addicted. So that's why I said we have many addictions. Many addictions came along with our addictions. I'm an addicted person. I know that. Anything that make Renee feel good, I can quickly, fast get addicted. So that's why I have to humble myself and kind of stay in a balance, on a balance of knowing who I am. See, this what that spiritual awakening, when we came to a part to where we believe and I'm going to speak about my God. When I came to believe that God had watched over me and watched over all my friends and watched over all the peoples in the NA program for a lot of years, multiple years, never gave up on us. And our gift to him is don't use. And that's not really a big gift, is it? To some peoples. Hey, my sister Selena, Evangelist Selena Green is on here. She's on there on Tuesday night, but, just to give you spiritual connections. She do spiritual connections. She talk about the same God I talk about. 7 o'clock Tuesday night. Hey, my sister, I'm her biggest fan. I'm always blessed. I'm already blessed. But I get more blessings. So having had a spiritual awakening, what if I didn't have a spiritual awakening through all them steps? Through all the results of them steps? But I knew that the 12th step was for real because I started feeling better. I started looking at myself. I started wanting to do better. I started wanting to get up out the bed. I started wanting to get dressed and go to a meeting so I can hear more. I started putting my feelings and emotion to the side to deal with the steps because I needed more. When I went through step 1 and went through step 2 all the way down to step 11 and then I got to step 12, man, I was on a natural high. It was a high that you couldn't even pay me to get. Because now I'm feeling good about myself. Now I realize I'm taking accountability of the mistakes and the stupid stuff that I had done to get to the point of being in treatment. And man, when I got out, I went to inpatient. I got on every board. I did surface work. I helped peoples. I gave people's lifts, drives to the meeting. I had all my recovery house. I had all the vans. I was taking peoples to get nurtured, to get what they needed. So in this process of having had a spiritual awakening, we realized we did service work. That's why I tell you this step is all about service work. And having that connection through all the steps, and we come to a place in our life, we realize, man, I've heard some people say, well, why did it take so long? Well, most of the time we hard-headed. Most of the time it's on self-will. We want to do what we want to do. Sometimes we don't want to lose feeling good or getting a natural high from stealing or getting a natural high from lying or like people's cutting themselves because mental illness done set in through this addiction. People don't want to believe it, but half of the world got a little bit of mental illness because of the stress and the things that we go through in life, and if you pay attention and don't have a program to work and don't have a God of your understanding, you will fall through the cracks. You will fall through the cracks. Do you hear me? You will be just like I was. Or I would be just like you was. Falling through the cracks and don't see it. Don't realize what's happening. The more I got high. And the true fact is, you will never get that high, that first high. You'll never get that feeling again. And you will be chasing it the rest of your life. Like you take alcohol and you drink and it make you feel good, make you fall on the ground, make you piss on yourself, talking about me. It'll make you lie and it'll make you double drunk, don't know where you put your car keys at, don't know what you done cooking and the kitchen is almost about to burn up. See, stuff like that. Stuff like that let us know something is wrong. I knew something was wrong when my life had become unmanageable. I kept messing up good jobs, stole from some of the jobs, got fired because I was stealing. When you go back and just really take a personal inventory, that's what I love about these steps. That's why it asks you, having had a spiritual awakening. It didn't say awakening, having had a awakening. It says having had a spiritual. Okay, Renee, what's the difference? Somebody asked me, what's the difference? A spiritual awakening means that you paid attention to something. You recognize something. Something clicked in your head and you recognize something. You got alert. You start seeing something. But a spiritual awakening. Man, let me tell you the difference. A spiritual awakening is when you done went through all eyes and you know things ain't right. You know the things you've been doing ain't right. You know the people you have hurt ain't right. You know you ain't right. And so all of a sudden, through the results of this step that I've been working on, why I'm feeling emotion, why I'm feeling a little better instead of just being shameful of myself, why am I getting a spiritual connection with God through these steps? Why am I feeling that I can be anything I want to be by the results of this step? Why have I feel like that me and God got a connection to where I can have him personally in my life? I don't have to share him with nobody. But because of this spiritual results of this step 12, we do talk about him. We do talk about God in these steps. And that's why I knew I would make it. Hey, Jamie, Hester, I knew I'd make it. No joke. Because you're going to need a God of your understanding in this time, in this world. You're going to need it. Angela, hey, honey, you're going to need it. So, I had to say a spiritual part means when you go through the steps, you're going to go through all highs and you're even going to go through some lows. Because as you go through the steps, you're going to start seeing and remembering and feeling the things that you did in your past. It's going to come into the present because you're working some steps. But I didn't know how deeply emotionally I was messed up. Didn't care. The word hate is real big. It's real big now. The word hate is real big. I didn't care though. Because the disease of an addiction told me I didn't have to. Just keep killing yourself. Just keep drinking, Renee. Just keep using people. Just keep being mean. Just keep lying to get some more drugs. Just keep calling a dope man. Or keep getting to that liquor store 5 minutes to 9 before they close. You just keep on doing that because now you doing service work for me. For the demon. The drug is a demon. The drug don't help us get our life together. It help us mess it up. And then the best thing the demon want us to do in this, when we in our lowest point of our life, is to isolate. It's to study be killing ourselves and drinking and lying and making ourselves think that we on top of the world and we really falling. We really falling. I mean falling to the bottom. So having had that spiritual awakening, I remember one time I came in from a meeting and I was emotionally, I had heard some speakers and I was emotionally having a conversation with God, because now I can feel. I couldn't used to feel. The drug took me. The alcohol had me. The pills never left me. So I was emotionally messed up. But having had a spiritual awakening through the results of these steps, that means every step I can identify. That means every step played a part in my spirituality. That means every part of these steps gave me a meaning to where I wanted to change. I wanted to know who God was. I wanted God to help me, because I've been doing all the driving. I've been doing all the wrong U-turns. I've been letting myself down over and over. I've been pleasing man instead of nurturing me. I've been pleasing everybody else instead of nurturing me. You know, I wanted to fit in so I wouldn't feel left out. You know, through the drugs and alcohol, it'll make you feel that way. You know, you think you're on top of the world until you can't pay no rent, until all your stuff that you enjoy watching is no longer in your house, until you start doing things with your body that you know you never used to do. So you know it's a problem. And then when you can't buy things for your kids, and when you don't have no money to even get a roll of tissue paper, you know something is wrong, and you know your life is so unmanageable. But sometimes we don't want to admit it. We don't want to admit it. But honey, keep living. Eventually you're going to admit it. Eventually I'll be running to the meetings. When I first came in, I was running to the meeting. 90 meetings, 90 days. I didn't miss a day. That means from Monday through Sunday, I was at a meeting. And the more I went, the more I wanted to go. I saw some change. I saw some spiritual connection in some steps I was working. You know, I started with my sponsor, and my sponsor was telling me, if you don't work a program, the program ain't gonna work you. You gotta work that program in order to see the results of these steps. And I did. I stopped stealing. I stopped lying. I stopped hurting people. I really feel like through the spirituality part of getting this awakening, that God was working on me. He was changing me. But you know, God ain't gonna come and just make you come to Him or make you seek the things that you need to seek. You have to want it. And I had to. I kept going to meetings. Man, I started feeling good about myself. I started seeing how everybody was changing their lives. Everybody that, you know, was going back to school. Everything that everybody wanted to do. And they getting clean and getting themselves together. But you got to be careful. You got to be careful, because when you come into recovery and everything start going fast, let me tell you, because having had a spiritual awakening, I knew I was on the road. I knew I was good. I knew God had me. But you know, sometimes when we've been without things and our lives have become unmanageable, lights got cut off, no food in the house, you know, stability in our lives, you know, everything start happening. Then we get clean. And when we get clean, hey Sandra baby, when we get clean, guess what happened? We start feeling good. We start looking good. It says having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, what happened? Okay, well what happened was I started nurturing my spiritual soul. I started nurturing my brain. I started putting good stuff in there instead of negative stuff. Okay, what else happened? Oh, I started feeling good. I started washing my dishes. I started cleaning up. I started singing gospel music. This might not work for everybody, but I'm talking about me. You know, I started getting up, having a reason to get up. I started talking to God more. I stopped putting Him on the shelf and pick Him up when I needed Him. I needed Him every day. That's how I knew that spiritual connection was, it was on me. I had it. So As I got clean, I started seeing and working these steps. I started seeing little bitty pieces of things that I had missed coming back alive. Like learning how to love again. Learning how to trust. Learning how to let go of things that I can't change. See, we ain't supposed to be trying to change nothing, no way. That's the God of our understanding doing. That's too big for us. We supposed to always work on ourselves. If somebody else want to get high. You know, I remember I was dating a guy, and I always give you a little bitty pieces of me, because I ain't ashamed of that no more. I ain't ashamed to tell you the stuff that I went through in order to have the privilege to be in the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous now. I remember I was dating a guy, and he came, I'm going to keep it real quick, he came to visit me, and he told me he had 5 years clean, because, you know, I wasn't dealing with nobody that was using. You know, I just wasn't dealing with that because I can't deal with heroin. Heroin too big. I can't deal with drugs and alcohol. I can't deal with it because I was what I couldn't deal with myself. So, you know, he came up here and all of a sudden, you know, he went to Chicago, came back, and when he came back, you know, I never dated nobody on heroin before. I never been on heroin. I never touched heroin. You know, I don't know how a dope fiend can say something they scared of, but I was scared of heroin because I heard heroin make you itch and make you nod out and you can overdose. I heard all the bad things enough to scare me that I didn't want to mess with heroin. And he came, and when he came back, you know, he started looking funny. See, this how you know you got a spiritual connection due to the results of these steps, because these steps gonna let you know what you doing and what you dealing with, and be alert and watch, and as well as you talk to your God of your understanding. So I remember he came back, and I remember he started cleaning up, and I remember he started cleaning out my refrigerator. I'm like, oh, something wrong with this picture. He ain't never cleaned up nothing. He was just moving around, and I'm like, okay, all right, something ain't right. Something ain't right. Now I'm feeling jittery, you know, because I'm clean now. You know, I got like 25 years clean. And all of a sudden, at that time, all of a sudden he come in, and all of a sudden he started doing these things, and he started nodding off. And I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude? I'm like, you sleepy? You took some? Oh, I probably took some. I said, no, something ain't right. Something ain't right. I said, you sweating? And I never been around nobody who did heroin. I didn't do it right. I didn't never been around nobody with hair except one person, and that was my uncle. And I didn't be around him a lot. He was a heroin user. And back when we were little kids, you know, be driving his Cadillacs, you know, and all this and other stuff. But he had a disease of an addiction that I didn't even know that was a disease, because I didn't know nothing about it. As being a kid, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you know, so all of a sudden, you know, the haven't had a spiritual connection as a result of these steps stepped in. And so I'm watching him, and I'm saying, okay, something ain't right. And all of a sudden he just talking, all of a sudden he fell back. Don't want to call no name. Tried to wake him up. He wouldn't wake up, so I called 911. And 911 come. You know, that's what I love about the paramedics, because they trained to know what's going on and what's happening. And he was like, do he use drugs? I'm like, well, he said he's been clean 5 years. And he said, the black lady came and she said, oh, look like he done had an overdose. I said, but he came back sweating and moving and jumping up and down, making me nervous. I'm a recovering addict, you know. And the black sister said, look, this dude, and he overdosed. And I said, what? Overdose? And she said, yeah, I'm going to take this stuff and I'm going to put it in up his nose. Narcon, I think it was. I'm going to put this Narcon up in his nose. And if he wake up, she was getting me. She was letting me know that spiritual connection with God due to the results of these steps kicked in. And I started seeing some things that I usually would bypass. And she put that up in his nose, and, you know, now I'm heated. I'm walking around the room, and she said, well, when he get up, Renee, she was really a blessing to me because I knew nothing about heroin. Only that a person I knew that in my family was using. I knew nothing about it. And all of a sudden she said, but if he wake up, when we put this up in his nose, we already know. See, if you hadn't called an ambulance, he probably would have died. Because whatever he had, it was good. You know, it was real good to knock you out and you can touch and move and you wake up. You know, and I said, you serious? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, oh, okay, all right, that's all. She said, so when you wake up, he going to be alert, he going to be go happy. You know, I said, okay, thank you. Having had a spiritual connection due to the steps kicked in. Renee, how you going to do this? How you going to handle this? Hey, Latasha, how you going to handle this, Renee? Somebody been lying to you, going to meetings with you, speaking at meetings. Oh, now I'm crucial mad. I am mad. I can't win with heroin. I can't win with nobody that use drugs. And I'm recutting. I'm fighting for my life. And they gave it to him. He popped up. He alert. Why did you call? Why did you call the ambulance? Haven't had a spiritual awakening due to these steps. It was best I shut up. I went outside, smoked me a cigarette, calmed myself down. I'm mad because now you in my space. Now you violated my space. Now you lied to me, and it's all coming out for the good. Once a person got peace in their life, they get humble. They start dealing with the situation not like they used to. They talk about it. How I'm going to do this? Yeah, cut them off. And so what I did was just didn't say nothing. I had to, y'all. I had to. I was violated. I was disappointed. You lied to me. You came into my home. You overdosed. One of my kids had to see you. Oh, okay. But then I came and I started reading. And he was in the room. I started reading. So I said, okay. I started working my steps. See, my steps is very important to me. I must have a foundation at all times because we never know what's going to happen in our lives through a relationship, a friendship, just associate. We always have to be grounded. See, you can't be recovery and work your steps and forget about that you are recovering addict. You can't never forget about that. You can't never forget about that you are recovering addict. I can't never forget it. I paid the price to be here to always remember. I don't ever want to go back. And so what happened, got up the next morning. I told him, you can sleep in the living room. Yeah, you mad. He was playing that little sad old music. I didn't care. I'm burning up. I can't wait to get you out of here. Oh, no. So the next morning, I just got up humbly. These steps teach you how to be humble in a crisis. In a crisis. So I love the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. I just got up. I said, hey, dude, hey, you need to pack your stuff so I can take you to the train station. Oh, that's how it is. I said, look, please don't talk. I am not in the talking mode. Pack your stuff, and so I could take you, and that's what I did, and never look back. Why I never look back, I have to always remember that I paid the price to be here, to recognize everything in my life was good for me or was not good for me, and that was not good for me. And that's why I tell you, when you come into recovery and things start getting good and things start having fast and, your skin looking good, you're taking care of yourself, you're drawing other people's to you, and Satan gonna send somebody to you to destroy you, to get you back to using again. But it ain't work. I told him, keep coming on. Come on. I'm hardcore now. I'm hardcore. Just because you say I'm pretty, just because when we haven't had a spiritual resuscitation of these steps, I try to carry the message to addicts, and the addicts is, don't get grandiose. I've seen too many people get 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 12 months, and all of a sudden, everything start happening. Haven't had a spiritual awakening to them steps. You working your program. You going to your meeting. You got your sponsor. You doing what you supposed to. Now you got a good job. But you have to remember, you still an addict. Even though you recovering, you still an addict. And I've seen so many go back. Everything happens so fast. Everything happened too fast. And, I tell everybody. I tell the girls I sponsor, look, hey, moving too fast. You're doing too much. Slow it down. Because it'll captivate you to make you think you doing on top of the world, but it'll also make you realize you can forget that you are a recovering addict that's still struggling to find yourself. I hate this disease. Carry the message to the addicts and practice these principles in all our affairs. No matter who we dealing with, who we got to talk to. I tell a person straight up, hey, I'm a recovering addict. A guy talked to me yesterday, said, can I get your number? And I'm like, no. He said, why? I said, I'm a recovering addict. And he was like, he made sense. He was like, well, what they got to do with me getting your number? I said, because I smell alcohol on you. He said, oh, my bag, pretty lady, my bag. I said, no problem. I said, I just keep it real today. I can't stop you from drinking. That ain't my job to do that. My job is to stay in Renee lane. I have a choice to accept who I want in my life. If I smell that alcohol, why would I want it in my life? Why would I take your phone number and I don't drink? So you can't play games with these steps. And these are the spiritual results that I've learned, that I got a connection with God. And long as I keep that connection and that open and that willingness to learn more and to free myself from all alternate, I hate this disease so bad to where I don't be around nobody to drink. You better not smoke no weed around me, and I bet not smell it in either one of my trucks. And you bet not, I don't like it. I almost died. Due to drugs. I let some drugs come into my life. And I let people that was on drugs invite them into my life. Satan is a demon. He a demon. And once you invite a demon in your house, you invited him. We don't want to realize I invited it. I invited so many demons. And I couldn't help but become a demon. Because I let all the demons come in. For everything I lost. For every failure that I thought I failed at. For everything that happens in your life supposed to be a blessing. Because when you get recovering, you come into recovery, you realize that you have somewhere now took a little bit of control over yourself. God got all control, but you somewhere played a big part in coming into your life and changing your surroundings, changing the way you think, changes who you invite into your home, into your life. Because sometimes our self-will and our feelings and emotion will get good, and we can get lonely and think we need somebody. Okay, get ready, because you think you need somebody, but you don't know who you inviting in. Because people lie coming through the door. People will say they this and when they really ain't that. So I have to always be careful, always be grounded. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, as a result of these steps have helped me to be better. I ain't perfect, and y'all ain't either. But you better than you was. Anytime that you can anytime that I drink every day, 7 days a week, pop pills, did drugs, and sometimes, sometimes your kids remind you of what you used to be and what you did. They will, because some of them still drink, some of them still get high. But that ain't my job. It's to tell them, they watch me. I ain't using no matter what happens. I like being clean. Somehow I got some control over my life. Sometimes I can stand my ground politely. And when I say that, because that ain't the way I used to roll. We carry the message to the addicts. We carry the message to the addicts. And we practice the principles, these principles we have in all our affairs. Whoever we talk to, where we speak at, whoever we come in contact with, when we read and we bring in these principles into our lives and telling other recovering addicts, newcomers, we have our own thing, but we learn. And for every hurt, for every denial, remember this, listen to this before I get off of here. For every hurt, for every pain, for every denial, for everything that you thought that hurted you, that damaged you, that had you, was a blessing. Because some of us won't ever go through what we went through before. Relationship, friendship, associates. See, I pick who I want in my life now. I got that right. Because everything I've been through, it taught me that I had a right to make choices. So I'm on a new journey. I don't hurt peoples. I'm always helping peoples. I'm always doing for peoples. Because somebody did it for me when I came into recovery. I had the best counselors. I had the best counselors in the world, I think. And they told me that I was going to make it. They said, Renee, when you leave here, you're gonna fly. And I did. See, sometimes what you say to a person can elevate them to do better. Or you can say something down to that person when they up and make them go back down. So the tongue can be deadly, it can be hurtful, and it can be painful. So I have to watch sometimes. These steps have really helped me. And we're back. We're going to be going back. Seem like that hour goes so fast. Seem like I've been on the roller coasters. I think I done went through 4 or 5 of these sets from one to another, but I'm asking God to show me how to intertwine with the principles and the 12 steps so somebody, my peoples, my friends, can understand them all. But next week, on Sunday, we will be on step 1, and that was the step that got my attention. We admit that we were powerless over our addiction and that our lives had become unmanageable. This step, that one step, with all them big powerful words, admitting, a powerless, addiction, unmanageable, all them 5 words. I'll say 6. You got admitting, addiction, powerless, unmanageability in our lives. I love this step because this is the step that got my attention. This is the step that kept my attention to get to step 2. So thank y'all so very much. I'm glad you had a safe week. Thank you so much for letting me come into your living room, your home, your car, your garage. You know, I say that every time I say that is because people say, Renee, I was outside in my garage listening to you. I was washing my car in the garage and I was listening to you. Or I've had people say, Renee, I was in the bathroom and you was on and I got ready to sit down and I just clicked you on in the bathroom. So that's why I always say that. Wherever you find me or wherever you hear me, thank you. Because it's going to be a blessing to you. And anything I say or tell you, it's going to be a blessing to you. Because you're going to need that in your life as you go through your journey. So that's why I said thank y'all so very much. And if you can't do nothing kind for someone today, or say nothing kind for someone today, then don't say nothing at all. I ask God to bless you all, that y'all have another safe week. Don't get distracted about all the stuff that's on TV, all the stuff that's going on with the food stamps, all the stuff that's going on taking our kids gonna eat. But you know what I didn't realize? I'm gonna say this before I go. I didn't realize until Jamal, that preacher that I listen to all the time, because he give out good information on Facebook. He said it's only 27% of black people's on food stamps. Check this out, y'all. But 75 or 78% is white people's. I wouldn't have never dreamed that. I wouldn't have never thought it. So it's hurting everybody. It's hurting everybody. That's why I say if you can't help nobody or do something, you can't love God in doing the things that you do to take from our children and to take from people's, you know, and then for y'all ones that seem to think, because y'all don't get food stamp, that it don't apply to you. Yeah, one day it will. Some peoples do need them foods. A lot of peoples do need to eat. What about our old peoples? What about our mothers and grandmothers and grandfathers that's on a income, that's only got a little income? But I'm praying and asking God to deliver. And he gonna do it too. He gonna do it. Remember me telling you that. God bless you. Thank you. I love y'all. Thank you for being a part of my process and you letting me be a part of yours. Because I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you about me. I don't have no secrets. You know, I got so tired of holding secrets all them years. Until now, if I know any secret that can help and bless somebody, that's what I'm going to tell it. But don't get caught up because you lonely. Don't get caught up because you by yourself. Don't get caught up because you ain't by yourself. I don't never get caught up. I don't never get caught up being called pretty. I don't never be called you got this. That don't even faze me no more. All I want, if I can't get somebody to know God and that we can help each other build and help one another, I'm good. I'm straight up. But I love recovery. And that's the most thing that's important in my life, is that I stay clean. That I don't ever go back to drugs and alcohol. That I don't ever go back to something that almost took my life. I don't ever want to go back to something that takes all of me. Drugs and alcohol take all of you. Yeah, you probably can pay your rent a little bit here. Yeah, you probably can still party. Yeah, you probably can do that. But your life is slowly becoming unmanageable. Remember that. Remember that. I thank y'all so very much. I'll see y'all next Friday at 7 o'clock. At 8 o'clock. And I'll pick some words off. If somebody want to send me something to talk about, be glad to shout it out to me and say, Renee, talk about this, because I always have a few topics that I talk about, like patience, accountability, loving, kind. But if somebody want to shout me out something, then you're most welcome, and I'll do that on Fridays. But I love you. God bless you, and take care. I'll see you next week.